One thing I cannot stand to hear anymore is Bernie Sanders being a socialist. I got into a short exchange with somebody on Facebook. They insisted that Bernie Sanders was a socialist. And I said, no, he is a social democrat. What was his argument that Bernie Sanders is a socialist? That social democracy is socialism. I said, no, socialism is the removal of the means of production from the capitalist class and placed in the hands of the working class. His answer? Well, it's a hybrid of the two. No, the means of production remain in the hands of the capitalist class. It's social democracy. It's still capitalism. He then proceeded to call me a Puritan for not acknowledging that the capitalist class, still being in control of the means of production, is socialism. Essentially, that was his argument. Like, I could point out entire socialist theory, everything from communes to everything all the way down, and it's still, yeah, well, you're just being dogmatic. Apparently, not being the literal definition of the opposite of socialism is being dogmatic. And that's what a lot of first world people are. They really genuinely believe that Bernie Sanders is a socialist, and they will go to extreme lengths to pervert the definition of socialism in order to fit that. And this is one of the reasons why I think Bernie Sanders is a gigantic fucking piece of shit, because he is letting this happen. In fact, in many ways, he's actually encouraging it. This is one of those things that again points out the first world people do not have a revolutionary potential. There's very small pockets of people who do, but nothing significant enough to actually carry out revolution. Here's another good thing to keep in mind about Bernie Sanders. I went to his Twitter page, y'all, to see like his statements. I mean, literally the whole thing was like free stuff. Free college, free healthcare, and what have you. Now, there's essentially nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with universal healthcare or universal education. The problem is he's offering it inside of capitalism. So when all these people, a lot of them who claimed it to be socialists, start flocking over to the guy and start rewriting the definition of socialism to mean the capitalists still in charge, we see how effective it is and how easily first world people can be bought off. I mean, I couldn't think of a better symbol for buying off first world people. Offering them the goodies that they want in exchange for keeping capitalism. I mean, I literally could not think of a better way of describing that. That's like a perfect metaphor, whatever. Bernie is literally walking in saying, here's free stuff, continue to support capitalism or continue to keep a capitalist system. And hey, go ahead, tell yourself it's not capitalism if that makes you feel better. That's literally what's going on right there. I couldn't think of a better symbol of first world people. He's literally just buying them off. And that's our whole point as third worldists. People will not fight for revolution in the first world. Bernie Sanders could not symbolize that better. He's literally just offering them free stuff so that they don't do it. And then in return, they're perverting the word socialism into meaning anything the government does. I don't know how a lot of people could still claim that there's a revolutionary potential in the first world given all of this. And especially knowing that it's going to come down to Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders. One of these two is going to win. It's either going to be Donald Trump, who's just pandering to complete reactionary hatred, but apparently there's a spontaneous class consciousness and a revolutionary potential among these people, or Bernie Sanders, who's the embodiment of buying off people so that they don't do revolution. I don't know how people could still claim that there's a revolutionary potential in the first world when there is this as their choices, and choices that people are taking up. I mean, there tends to be a big echo chamber inside of socialist circles, the online Marxist community. People just tend to think that just because they feel like they're revolutionary, and 99% of the time they're absolutely not, they just believe they are, that somehow the rest of the country feels the same way or will think the same way as them. But what we have is this overwhelming mountain of evidence that says otherwise. So honestly, if you really think that Bernie Sanders is a socialist, or that somehow the capitalists still being in control of the means of production is socialism, fucking hang yourself. Seriously. Because it's people like you that make the world impossible to be any better. And you are a symbol of why revolution cannot happen in the first world. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.